Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, March 18th, and I now call this regular meeting of the Wetaskiwin Regional Public School Board to order at 11:01 a.m. We'll begin with our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we're on Treaty 6 territory, a traditional meeting ground, gathering place, and traveling route to the Cree, Saulteaux, Blackfoot, Métis, Dene, Nakota Sioux, and Anishinaabe. We acknowledge all the many Indigenous nations, Métis and Inuit, whose footsteps have marked these lands for time immemorial. We respect the treaties that were made on these territories. We acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past. And we dedicate ourselves to move forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. All right. So the next item on the agenda is consideration of the agenda. Are there any changes or additions? Okay, seeing none, may I have a motion that the agenda for the March 18th, 2026 regular board meeting be approved as presented? Thank you, Trustee Johnson. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Trustee Norton. All in favor? Motion is carried. Next item is approval of the minutes for the, from the March 4th, 2026 regular board meeting. Any errors, omissions, or corrections to the minutes? Right, seeing none. May I have a motion that the minutes of the March 4th, 2026 regular board meeting be approved as presented? All right, thank you, Trustee Norton. A seconder. Thank you, Trustee Potts. All in favor? Okay, motion is carried. Okay, moving on to committee reports. I'll call on Trustee Wright to present the Facility and Finance Committee report for March 4th. All right, Trustee Wright. I don't know if he's muted.
The Facility and Finance Committee meeting was held on Wednesday, March 4th. Meeting was called to order at 1:02 p.m. that day. We had gone through the minutes from the previous meeting that were accepted at the previous board meeting. The facility standing items, there was a quick update on the 5 schools that had their air quality tested. No significant findings, which was great. We had moved on to the new items with the new Norwood update. There was an updated concept drawings presented, and then a discussion was held on those drawings. There was actually also a video of the outside of the proposed new build. The Clear Vista sprinkler system update. Next steps are to hire a construction manager to assess and cost out the project. The work will be performed over spring break, March 30th. Subsequently, meeting with Alberta Infrastructure and Capital Planning will be held to get their approval to move to the tender stage of that. Next item was the SPELL facility lease renewal. SPELL, S-P-E-L-L, is requesting a renewal for April 26th to March 2027 with existing lease arrangement for Lynn Lorne building. Recommended motion that the board approve moving forward with the SPELL lease renewal for the period of April 2026 to March 2027.
All right, so is there a seconder for that motion? Thank you, Trustee Johnson. Any discussion? Yes.
Just to know that this is the actual community learning program facility that's operated by the SPELL organization. SPELL is the Society for the Promotion of English Language Learning, which was kind of rolled into the Community Learning Council that used to run with the county and the city, and now we're running as one entity on our own. So it's that facility in case the public is interested.
Trustee Johnson, any other discussion? So the motion on the floor is that the board approve moving forward with a spell lease renewal from the period of April 2026 to March 20.
Oh, point of order. I guess, do I need to recuse myself from this vote? Because I do sit on the spell board, so then I should probably recuse myself.
Thank you.
Sorry,
No problem.
so you might need somebody else to second the
Yeah,
motion.
maybe I'll look
Yeah,
for
I'll
a,
second.
okay, thanks trustee Ware. So you're seconding it. Motion on the floor is that the board approve moving forward with the spell lease renewal for the period of April 2026 to March 2027. All in favor? Okay, motion is carried.
Just pause for a minute.
Sorry. Thank you.
Thanks. Trustee Rank, you can continue.
Okay, next item in the facilities discussion was mold mitigation and management plan. As per a recommendation from Marsh, our insurance provider, a mold mitigation and management plan was developed and needs to be displayed on the WRPS website. The committee provided direction to post the document. Next item is the 2026 IMR requests. A list of all IMR requests from the schools and preventative maintenance items was presented. Once funding is confirmed, the requests will be categorized and prioritized. Summer projects will focus on completing painting requests. Item F, Clear Vista audio system replacement. Clear Vista's audio system requires replacing. An audio sound company was consulted and put forth 3 options for audio replacement. The best option for the school will cost approximately $39,000. The school can contribute $13,000 of that cost. The balance can come from an equipment contingency already built into the 2025-26 budget. And the recommended motion that the board approve proceeding with the Clear Vista audio system purchase and implementation.
Okay, thank you, trustee Wright. Do I have a seconder?
Yeah.
Thank you,
So many seconds.
trustee Heikert. Is there any discussion?
I believe this system is an original system. Doesn't owe us very much. It's been there from the beginning, and the technology has changed. It doesn't do the students justice when they go up to sing their songs or announcements are made, so nobody can hear. This is a good.
Thank you. Yes.
I echo what Lynn was saying, having a daughter who spoke at her Christmas concert, and that's a big thing for her with a cleft palate. Speech isn't always easy, and for her to stand up there and give a speech and not be heard not because of her effort, but because of the system in the school was kind of disheartening. So I think this will be great for hopefully years to come at the school before technology changes again, but yeah, hopefully this will work well with all their other systems.
Any other discussion? Motion on the floor is that the board approve proceeding with the Clear Vista audio system purchase and implementation. All in favor? Okay, motion is carried.
Next item, technology capital purchases for 2025-2026. The current licensing model will need to be renewed under a mandatory 3-year contract. Prices have significantly increased. Cindy Foss, technology director, has requested that upgrades to servers and licensing be done immediately, with the idea this will save money long-term for the district. Recommended motion that the board will proceed with the capital purchase of technology infrastructure.
You do have a seconder? Thank you, trustee Lethbridge. Is there any discussion? Okay. Seeing none, the motion on the floor is that the board proceed with capital purchase of the technology infrastructure. All in favor? Okay, motion is carried.
All right, next item under facilities was full day ECS for 2026-2027. Superintendent Mike Wake gave a brief overview of the ECS survey responses. That's where we're at with that so far. Last item under the facilities was budget for 2026. Secretary Treasurer CFO Reid presented a brief overview of expected budget increases / considerations. The board's 2026-2027 funding profile is expected to be received by mid-March of this year, 2026, and the funding manual for school authorities is expected to be available in early April 2026. On to the finance portion. Under new items, business service update, trustee expense claims were reviewed. The trustee compensation decision flowchart was presented for information and discussion. Recommended motion that the February 2026 trustee expense claims be approved as presented.
Great. Seconder, Trustee Ware, thank you. Okay, any discussion?
I'd just like to say that I think it's working well, that we all look at everybody's just to try and learn like what all the nuances of where we consistent expense claims. So this is working well. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks to Trustee Dorchester for
Yes.
making that fancy flow chart.
Yes. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so the motion on the floor is that February 2026 trustee expense claims be approved as presented. All in favor? Okay, motion's carried.
All right, next item is the complexity team funding. So the school authority has received $300,000 for a complexity team. That is what we decided on how to move forward. I believe that is just in the Clear Vista School. Transportation, new items. Transportation services update was given by Secretary Treasurer Reid. And then the meeting was adjourned at 3:14 p.m. Recommended motion that the minutes of the Facilities and Finance Committee meeting held on March 4th, 2026 be accepted as presented.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a seconder? Trustee Johnson, thank you. All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, thank you, Trustee Wright. Moving on, I'll call on Trustee Heikert to present the Education Committee report for March 11th, 2026.
So March 11th, we began at 8:30 a.m. till 11 with Jordan Tinney discussing our board priorities. It's going well. I like that we all have one goal in mind. It's just many different roads to get to that, but we all see the same picture. So I'm looking forward to continuing that on next month. We trustees continued our learning with Jolene Wood, the Administrator of Indigenous Education, Community and Innovation, by reviewing the Indigenous Identity presentation. We explored Indigenous worldviews and learned about the importance of respectful terminology when referring to First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples. The session also highlighted the strength and revitalization of Indigenous cultures, languages, and traditions within the community today. We are continuing our book study of The Five Little Indians by Michelle Good, and we have more homework to do to complete that. I completed that book when I first got it, so now I'm gonna have to go back and read the section of our next, just to refresh my memory so I'm not ruining the ending for some people to mind where I'm speaking at our next meet. So we discussed the experiences of the characters and the lasting impacts of residential schools on individuals and our community. We were asked to read to the end of chapter 8 in preparation for our next discussion. Then we broke for lunch and returned with Jordan Tinney from 1 till about 2:30. And he led us through our strategic session focused on governance and ongoing priorities. The session provided an opportunity for the board to reflect on our role in effective governance, discuss current priorities, and consider how we can continue to support the division's strategic direction while maintaining a strong focus on student success and community engagement. And then we adjourned our meeting at around 2 p.m. my recommended motion is that these minutes be of the Education Committee held on March 11th, 2026, be accepted as presented.
All right, do I have a seconder? Thank you, trustee Potts. All in favor? Okay, motion is carried. Moving on to board representative reports. I believe trustee Ware has a report on Public School Board Association of Alberta.
Well, question really, we had a meeting this morning on the Professional Development Committee, and I know some of you have been taking the modulars and the learning. So I'm looking for feedback. Is there anything you would like them or like us to provide, like as far as webinars or PPE, whether it be a module or in person? So if you put on your thinking caps and help come up with some topics. If you notice something was missing or you have questions, please let me know. Yes, Chantel?
I did fill out they sent out that survey for us to fill out. So I did fill that out and send it back to them, and with some different ideas. One thing that I found is when they had some of their speakers, which were good speakers from like Australia and things like that, a lot of the people on the webinars were new trustees who had questions that related to Alberta education, and these people were kind of like deer in the headlights, like, I have no idea what you're talking about, or, so maybe something for them to consider would be to have new trustees, because it's new trustees and trustees that have been there for, 14, 15 years or longer, right? Barb, I know you were on lots of those. While hearing a message is great for everybody to get refreshers and stuff like that, I feel like there's a element being missed for the new trustees that,
Back it up and, yeah, okay.
yeah, right? Like I took away some good things from some of these presenters from Australia or whatever, but there was a good chunk missing for new trustees,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
That's good feedback, thank you, I wrote that down.
All right, thank you. Next up, I believe trustee Lethbridge has a report for Rural Education Symposium.
Oh, yeah, and I have a little one for the Rural School Board Caucus. Our next meeting is just before ASBA at the spring conference meeting. So usually they have their meeting before ASBA has their meeting. And while I was at Rural Education, I've asked to be part of a board that is looking at, with the minister, looking at changing how the rural school grant, small school grant, they want to look at maybe adding some more pieces to that. And one of the ministers feels that there could be more added to it. So they're looking for a committee, they were looking for a committee to come and sit on that. So I've had my name on there. We haven't had a meeting yet. I haven't talked to Trustee McPherson about that at all. But yeah, so that was a good conversation. So on the weekend of, well, it's not a weekend, it was Sunday to Tuesday, March 1st to 3rd, Trustees Reich, Morton, Ware, Lethbridge, and Superintendent Wake had the extreme privilege to attend the Rural Education Symposium held at the River Cree in West Edmonton. Started Sunday afternoon with members-only education session about internet and social media branding with Joe Whitbread. Focused on credible, transparent, and controlling your narrative on your brand, positivity in your public relations, strategic communication, fostering positive relationships, which improves in the long-term success of your brand. By having positive PR, you can support your community initiatives and helps the public understand issues in your community. He does this also for students and adults. To have a positive brand, social media brand, you need to be honest, respectful. You have to have ethics and integrity. It will give confidence in your brand and will instill others to have confidence in what you're doing. Northern Gateway Public Schools presented their summer boot camp summer school, and the work they're doing with students grade 9 to 12, how they're building relationships with companies and their divisions for their students. This is a 2-week credited project. Students get credit for it. Completely sponsored in full, including transportation through the whole division, by the supporting business. It's not supported by the school division, doesn't have to pay, the supporting businesses pay. And that way they can also be invested in the students and the community. Monday morning started with a prayer from Elder Bob Cardinal. He emphasized that in reconciliation, schools need to be the seed of healing and that the seed always needs to be planted with love. And we need to be aligned so that we can accomplish where we want to go. The next speaker was Kevin Lamoureux on the topics of schools being places of healing and reconciliation. Reconciliation is a gift. He encouraged us all to reread the 94 calls to action, and especially the ones that refer to our schools. We are doing this for 2 reasons. Firstly, it may expose us to a Canada that we have never seen before. And secondly, our communities would benefit from the calls to action. No one is responsible for the wreckage that we have inherited, and that many people will reject reconciliation. Without reconciliation, we would never have heard about residential schools, and it wouldn't happen without our residential school survivors. It's not about pity, it's about healing Canada. Our public schools are the starting place to teach about reconciliation. He said that all levels of government should implement Jordan's principle. I feel like I'm giving you not giving you the Coles notes like I wanted, but this was so important. Healing begins when you love kids and you can do your work. His other point was, for long as we're a society that takes kids away from their families, we're always putting a Band-Aid on a wound. Every professional should have basic training in trauma-informed practice. School should be a place of safety, and students lose 4 months of school every time they get moved to a new home or a new space, which was kind of hard for me. Like, I found it was a very, it was a good conversation. He encouraged us, there's a lot of other stuff in my notes, but he encouraged us to be part of the solution. Kids need to know that they are safe and loved when they come to school. And he ended his conversation with, let this generation be the last generation that needs to heal from trauma. We did a session on complexity, trauma, and inclusion. Can't remember the speaker, I wrote his name down. Education is time limited, because kids go to school from 8 to 3:30, and after that, students are a part of the community. It takes a community to raise a child. Loneliness and isolation are community destroyers, and you don't have to live in an isolated community to feel isolated. Violence is not a school issue, it's a community issue, not just an RCMP or a mental health problem. Since COVID, we have moved from community-minded to individualistic-minded. There's a difference between saying you're welcoming to really being welcoming. Hoping something will happen by any level of government is not a strategy. We need to be proactive, not reactive. It's too late to make a policy after something happens. Policies should be a collaborative process between all levels of leadership. Encourage trustees that they play a huge role in modeling calmness and in all levels of our community. The speaker also encouraged us to define what community is. Everyone has a different definition of community and what defines an imminent risk. And I guess all of this comes from what happened at Tumbler Ridge. Clear leadership equals functional community and a productive school. Not clear leadership equals dysfunctional community. We had a couple of panels, question and answer sessions, one with Minister Long as Minister Nicolaides was unable to attend. He talked about classroom complexities. This will help support student well-being, increased access to support, safety of students, reconciliation progress, and support rural transportation. The second panel discussed the model of collegiate and dual credit programming. It's a good model for rural students and employers looking to train and hire. Our last session was about work-life balance and wellness. What one structural decision that we can make is to reduce system strain. We had an amazing demonstration of First Nation dance and drumming. All participants are from the local First Nations community, each with a bachelor's or master's degree in Indigenous studies. And one dancer was actually the CEO of the River Creek Casino, where the symposium was held. And I want to say this, out of all the conferences, this is the one that I enjoyed the most, and I am totally going next year.
Thank you. Yes.
Everyone knows I have a soft spot for mental health. And they really highlighted that schools can't do this alone, that we need to build the whole community. And children are having a hard time feeling connected right now because they have a front row seat to everything in the news, the murders, the wars, and how important this connection is, starting with our parents, of course, but how can we foster that? And a new question that we're supposed to be asking our kids is, do you have an AI friend? Which this was new to me. And then Karen mentioned the Joe social media. He comes into classrooms, he has presentations from 5 to 12. He's affordable, you can use casino funds. He needs to be in our schools, so pass his name along to parent councils. Yeah, is he good?
Yeah, we've had them present, I think twice now.
And the kids enjoy it?
Yeah, they can present for parents.
Yeah.
Or for children, and we've had both.
Both? Awesome.
And another point that was made at this conference was that if it happens in your school, it happens to your community.
Yeah.
So if it happens in your community, it doesn't always happen at your school.
Yeah.
Right? But if it happens in your school, everyone is affected.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Moving on do you have a report for Yellowhead?
Yeah.
Okay.
So on Monday, I attended the Yellowhead Regional Library meeting virtually. The audited financial statements were approved, and also approved was to move $625,000 from reserve funds to general funds to cover budget shortfalls for 2025. There was much discussion about raising user rates. And I did question whether it was for schools and for municipalities, but the rate was only for municipalities. The rate hike increased from $4.85 per household to $5.61 per household. Our rate remains at $20 per full-time entry student. Also, a lot of discussion around advocacy in public libraries. 82% of Albertans support public libraries, but there is a lot of discussion around government interference about how libraries are operated. And that's mostly because there's been a lot of books that have been taken out of the libraries. Policies are being put into place regarding the 55 public libraries that are being maintained in school settings. Looking at parental permission for internet and gaming sites, apparently in some public libraries there is gaming happening, which was news to me. And they're also looking at the possibility of a parent holding a joint card with children so that parents can have access to the children's library usage. The next meeting is in June, June 15th. Yellowhead Discovery Day for reps, alternate and school board leaders, April 25th, so you can go there and tour. There is a meeting on October 5th, and the Stronger Together Library Conference is from October 20th to 21st.
Excellent, thank you. All right, so next chair.
Just for confirmation for the discussion here, or just for knowledge, is that, as mentioned, that their Yellowhead may be entertaining policies, but clearly just for the community and parents to know that it's your policies and legislation and direction of government that influence the accessibility of our libraries to our students, right? So.
Yeah, libraries, public libraries, there's a Libraries Act, and then there's the Education Act, which has a place in it for libraries. And I did question this when Trustee Potts and I went, was that Education Act overshadows the Libraries Act. And so we have definite trying to find oversight
Yeah.
into what goes into our libraries.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so moving on to board chair report. Before I touch on a couple letters that were shared with us, I wanted to note that advocacy continues to be a key part of our role as a trustee. A lot of work has been happening right now across Alberta. It's about making sure rural realities are understood at the provincial level, and funding and policy decisions actually reflect what boards are seeing on the ground. Along those lines, I just want to acknowledge a couple of recent meetings that I believe have been valuable. First, we had the opportunity to meet with Star Catholic School Board. It was a good, practical conversation. We discussed topics like school resource officers, transportation, and other common issues that school divisions are navigating right now. It's always helpful to meet with our colleagues from other school divisions, compare approaches, look for areas where we can learn from one another. Recently, we had a Zone 4 chair and vice chair meeting where we discussed transportation pressures, budget considerations, and several other shared challenges. As a relatively new chair this year, I find these meetings to be very valuable in helping to compare notes with neighboring school divisions, understand what is working in other places, and make sure that when we're advocating through Zone 4, we're speaking as clearly and consistently as we can, which in itself is a big part of advocacy. In addition to that, I'm pleased to highlight our recent engagement with the Wetaskiwin Chamber of Commerce. Our Vice Chair, Lynn Ware, had the opportunity to speak to the local business community, where she showcased the significant progress we made in our board governance. I truly believe that our commitment to governance is one of this board's greatest strengths. We have done the heavy lifting over the last little while, and we established a robust framework for how we operate, and now we're seeing the tangible benefits of that labor. Greater clarity, stronger decision-making, and a unified vision for our students. And I think it's really rewarding to share these internal successes with our community partners as it reinforces their confidence in the stability and leadership of our division. Today, I'm also going to touch briefly on two pieces of correspondence that were forwarded to us from other school divisions. First, we received a letter from PSBAA, Public School Board Association of Alberta. and it was addressed to Minister Nicolaides, acknowledging the recent increase to the base grant and continued support for program unit funding. The message is essentially, thank you, this helps. And the next step is making sure the additional funding is distributed fairly and directly to school boards with the flexibility to use it based on local needs. It reinforces the point that locally elected boards know their communities best, and that local decision-making is how we get the best results for our students. And the last letter we received was from Grand Yellowhead Public School Division. And it really puts a spotlight on the rural small school grant cliff, as they describe it. They describe what happens when a very small rural school dips below the threshold and suddenly loses significant block funding, even though the fixed costs of keeping that school open don't drop the same way that enrollment may. Their concern is that it creates an impossible choice: subsidize one rural hub at a very high cost or reduce supports elsewhere in the school division. And they're asking the ministry for a bridge or a softer landing so communities have time to grow enrollment or develop locally relevant programming rather than being forced into a closed discussion. And that letter hits home for us because we have schools that are, I think is it 55, 54?
Yeah, that threshold.
Right around that threshold that, you know, depending on enrollment in any given year, it could make the difference of $100,000, which is huge. So that is a real issue that our school division grapples with. And that concludes my report. And we'll move on to Superintendent Waite's report.
Thank you, Chair George. I share a few good news items. Just a big thank you to the students of Buck Mountain, Pigeon Lake, the Comp, and Outreach. They've saved some time for me to come out and talk to them about all things education, as well as the community and the future that we want. And we'll continue that advisory group. And just to let you know, as a board in June, they'll actually come to you, to trustees, and actually ask you some questions and so forth on and this is outside of our student parent forum, but I just think it's great to see the young voices of advocacy. And so it's fantastic, and also appreciative of the principals to also sit in on those conversations, because it's really good to hear about the things we're doing in education. One of the things I am actually asking the youth is, did you know, or what don't you know? And so because here's the thing, we as adults, we want to communicate. We communicate obviously with our parents as partners. I'm just curious on how much of that's getting to our youth of today. So good news item there, big thanks. Also just a big thank you to the Pareto program. So we had a few of our staff go out to the drill hall and participate in the Pareto programs, just informing our community of some of all the good that we do in meeting the needs of our students as well as the community. And I think it is important. And I do appreciate some of the conversations I've heard in reports today, you know, also with Trustee Heikert's report around board priorities, is that I'm very appreciative to hear governors of a organization go above and beyond their mandate that we have in education, but also really talking about how we can engage our community and make a positive impact in our community. And I'm hopeful that we'll continue to have those conversations, knowing that maybe other levels of elected leaders are also hearing that importance of that. Like, there's been a lot of talk around cross ministry and so forth, but the fact of at the ground level, what can we do? So just really appreciate that, and thankful to the people that participated in the Pareto programs. Have a few items for information. First and foremost, just Education Week will be happening April 13th to the 17th. And just for those that maybe aren't aware, but one thing that we do during Education Week, the Thursday of Education Week, we actually lower our flags at half-mast to recognize all the amazing people that contributed to the world of education over the decades, over the years that have passed on. And that is just not about teachers, that's about support staff, custodians, EAs, admin assistants, you name it. And so on that Thursday of the Education Week, you will see our flags at half-mast in recognition of that. Item also for information around school safety, just to let you as a board know, we did submit our APs and policies around school safety. There is an audit going on in the province of Alberta where all school divisions will be asked and schools will be inspected, not all schools, but select schools. But I think it's important to know that we have submitted our AP and policy for review. And, and right now, based on our continued work, is that we feel that we're in really good standing in ensuring our community and our students are safe. Just a item for information, save the date with the student parent form. Invitations have gone out. We will be seeing if it works. We're hopeful that the dates do work for our students and our parents. Just for clarity's sake, is that some students will have their parents in attendance and some students won't have their parents in attendance, and some parents may be there with with their own child not there. And so we're just looking for a very diverse group of people to give their thoughts on, once again, focusing on the future we want. But actually, I think, to be honest with you, Chair Dorchester, we're also going to say the community we need, right? Because we will also be sending invites to City Council, County Council, Town of Millet, Chamber of Commerce, as well as some other business partners in our community. Student survey, so that information got sent out to all of our school administrators. We're asking them to sit down with their students to complete. Just so you know, the students in K-3 survey questions look similar, but actually have emojis instead. So you're seeing happy faces and so forth, just looking for responses. I have asked for that completion of the survey to be done prior to spring break. And why are we doing a student survey? It's just our commitment on education plan around engagement. And we do have assurances reports that go to the provincial government and so forth. But with some of our cohorting size and school size, our data gets suppressed. And so we don't always get to see that from a provincial's perspective. But in feedback, seeking feedback from principals and vice principals and you as a board, we've sent out the questions and we're really interested to see what they come back. Some of the themes, as to Trustee Morton talked about, around wellness and well-being, is our education experience what they're wanting? And are they able to actually, with some of our older students, be able to actually verbalize what they're doing, but also what supports they need to continue to be successful? So looking forward for that feedback. Also attached information evenings. We have a couple tonight as well. Just a big thank you to all our teachers and support staff and principals for leading the way on information evenings to ensure our families are informed of all the programming offerings that we have in our schools. It is registration time right now. So some of our existing families have been getting emails and so forth, asking them to re-register to indicate their interest. But also, this is also the time where families new to WRPS are also asking to register, ensuring that they save a spot in our schools. Funding manual, Schools Authority update just for information, as well as an update to school capital plan manual for information. These are all things that you at Finance and Facilities committees, as well as in our budget consultation, will be using to have conversations. Chair Dorchester, I do have 3 items for action, and the first item for action is around the ASCBTP trustee report, and it's a premium rate increase of 5.8%. And Chair Dorchester, I am looking for the board to refer this to the Facility and Finance Committee for the purpose of part of our budget consultations, because what this does mean on correspondence is that our premium rate, so as you as an employer, we pay our benefits for our employees, but that increase is projected at being about 5.8%, which is quite significant. But we want to make sure that's captured in our budget consultations that you guys are doing throughout April and May. So looking for a motion that the trustee report rate increase be referred to Facility and Finance Committee for further discussion.
You're prepared to make the motion, Trustee Eichert? Thank you. A seconder? Thank you, Trustee Lethbridge. Any discussion? Seeing none, the motion on the floor is that the ASCBP trustees report rate increase be referred to the Facility and Finance Committee for further discussion. All in favor? Motion's carried.
Thank you, Chair Dorchester. Another item for action. Previous board meeting, you approved a significant number of locally developed courses. We do have one more that has been brought forward, which I think is a fantastic opportunity for our students, and it's regarding Beating 15, a 3-credit course offering to all high school students. And so I'm looking for a motion that the LDC 1014 Beating 15 course, Elder Chronicles, be a developed course be acquired for use in our division.
Right. Trustee Johnson?
I would be prepared to move that. Absolutely thrilled to see that that's being offered.
I want to take it.
Yeah, exactly. Can we see? Can we see?
Thank you, Trustee Johnson. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Trustee Potts. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor? Motion's carried.
Excellent. I have one more item for action, Chair Dorchester, and that's with regards to the 3-year capital plan. As you can see, is that every year the boards are asked to revisit their capital plan submission to Alberta Infrastructure and Capital Planning. And I'm looking for a recommendation that the 2027-2030, holy smokes, we're getting up in those in the 21st century. 3-year capital plan should include a priority capital project for consideration. It's recommended that the capital priorities should be as follows in order of priority: modernization of Buck Mountain Central School, modernization of Pigeon Lake Regional School, and the Clear Vista Sprinkler Replacement System. System replacement.
Is anybody prepared to make the motion? Trustee Ray, thank you. Seconder. Trustee Martin. Any discussion?
Advocacy?
Yeah.
Any discussion around advocacy?
Any discussion around advocacy for this? Trustee Johnson.
Yeah, I think as trustees, part of our job is to advocate for our communities in general. And we need to be talking up to our communities about the needs that are that we're exploring and promoting and hoping. You know, we do need our communities to come together and support our schools. And I think that we need to also advocate with our MLAs, of course, and with our government agencies that we work with, and in our Chamber of Commerce and all of those things. We as individuals need to be promoting and advocating for our schools.
All right, thank you, Trustee Johnson. Trustee Wright, do you have a comment?
Yeah, just to add on to what Trustee Johnson said, advocacy is integral as we move forward in our capital projects. When we're looking at the new Norwood build, advocacy is the primary reason why we've got that. So, you know, if we continue down that advocacy piece and its importance and understanding that as a board and proactively promote that in our community to those government officials and agencies, the likelihood of getting things approved goes up.
Trustee Wright, do you have a comment?
I think they covered it. Thank you.
Covered it. All right, any other discussion? Trustee Wright.
Nope, sorry, hit it again by accident.
Okay, so the motion on the floor is that the board's 2027-2030 3-year capital plan should include priority capital projects for consideration as part of the 2027 provincial budget. It is recommended that the capital priorities should be as follows in order of priority: modernization of Buck Mountain Central School, modernization of Pigeon Lake Regional School, Clear Vista Sprinkler System replacement. All in favor? Okay, motion is carried.
Thank you, Chair Dorchester. Attached are board action and referrals, and that is it for my report.
Excellent, thank you very much. Next on the agenda, upcoming events. We have Denim and Diamonds, which is a fundraiser for Dreams Take Flight, the organization that takes some of our well-deserved students on a trip of a lifetime, which is March 28th at 5 p.m. at the Renaissance Edmonton Airport. Committee of the Whole regular board meeting and Facility and Finance Committee, Wednesday, April 8th at 9 a.m. Education Committee, Wednesday, April 15th at 9 a.m. Committee of the Whole regular board meeting and Governance Committee, Wednesday, April 22nd at 9 a.m. Youth Parent Forum, tentatively Thursday, April 30th at 9:30 a.m. at PLRS. And with that, I believe we are ready to adjourn. So is there a motion to adjourn this meeting? Thank you, Trustee Eichert, a seconder. All right, all in favor? Okay, meeting is adjourned at 11:51. Thank you.